Hello everybody, what's up? My name is Cecil, aka Cece's Dolls, and today I am going to be customizing this apple white doll into Chloe Price from Life is Strange. This is a gift for my friend, so let's get this started. I always start off with about 3 to 4 coats of Mr. Super Clear, and after those all dry for about 24 hours, I begin the sketch and also just some basic blushing. With Chloe, I had a reference image on hand and I figured out that she actually doesn't have too much blushing on her cheeks. Her cheeks are pretty clear. Most of the blushing is on her nose and under her eyes. A lot of the characters from Life is Strange have actually very distinct eye bags, more so a reddish color. I also help clean it up and shape it up by using a kneaded eraser, just rolled to a small point. I also add some contour, as Chloe does have sort of a thinner face, but I like using the Ever After High dolls, which do have a very wide face. Do some basic, very plain eyeshadow, even though Chloe herself doesn't use much makeup. After another coat of Mr. Super Clear, I start to push some values. I darken some things with a darker brown. I don't go for black immediately, especially as Chloe is very much, as I said, she doesn't wear much makeup, or at least it doesn't seem she does. So I wanted to play with more so natural values. And then I add some highlights with white, and I start with the eyes, as white can take a while to build up for eyes, so you have to do quite a few coats before you get a quite nice bright white. And I also start with a base color used in pastels, as I don't have too many watercolor pencils myself. And I also sort of define the lips a little more with different lines and such. So after another coat, I begin another layer, pushing those whites and other values. These first few layers are generally very crucial as it sets up the base. Whenever you're coloring inside the lips, that little crack, you generally want to squish the head a little bit. I know I should have cotton gloves because the oils can damage your sealant, but unfortunately I don't have any cotton gloves. And we go for another coat of Mr. Super Clear.
What do you have to say for yourself? You're a star.
So I figured while that was drying, I was still pretty in that creative mood. So I decided to start on creating the pattern of the clothing for her. As you can see, for this one I'm basically just lying the doll down and drawing around her body, sort of guesstimating what shape it should be, and then trying it on the doll, seeing if I have to do some adjustments. And as you can see, I make a few basic adjustments to this first layer, which is the jacket, actually. And I also add cuffs, and eventually I do sketch out the collar, but that's more so whenever I figure out the length I need for the collar, which is much easier to do once they're all cut out. I also go over it with not an ink pencil, but a felt tip pencil, because that will actually lead to less bleeding if you rub your fingers over it, over tracing paper. Oftentimes if I leave it as pencil, then it will just smudge all over the place. So you see I measured actually part of the front and part of the back where the collar will be, and that's how I figured out how big the collar should be. So the sealant's all dry, and I begin to push the values, push the highlights, because once again, white doesn't build up very well. Now, these later layers are more so just detail refining. One thing I do personally is I actually take a purple pencil. It's better if you have a lavender pencil, but I only have a darker purple pencil. And I actually go over the very top of the eye just to create sort of a shadow. Every single eye will have that sort of shadow no matter what kind of eye you have. It just creates a little bit more dimension, I found, and I don't remember what I learned it from, but as soon as I did, it just sort of pushed my style into a little bit more realism, and it was a lot better. So here I am. I cut a little small square of 1/4 on, and then I start to pin my pattern down, and I'm starting with the ones that go on the folds, and I begin to cut them out. So this is a little bit later on. I didn't want to bore you guys with a bunch of sewing. If you guys want to see that though, tell me. I was just running low on my SD card, so I didn't want to show you guys a bunch of boring stuff that I'd probably be cutting out anyway. So here I am. I'm trying it on the doll, and I'm seeing if it bends with her. And then I finally add some fray check to some places that need fray check. For the shirt, it was a lot easier. I actually didn't do a hem per se on the neckline and the armholes just because it would be such a small hem. So I just used fray check. But here I am decorating the shirt just with acrylic paint, and just be sure to keep your reference image handy. Then I moved on to the tattoo, and even though I have a small brush, I do like to go in and sort of define things to make them even sharper by scraping it off with a toothpick. Of course not too hard, you don't want to go too hard and scratch the vinyl, but just slightly scrape off the acrylic paint. once you are done, you can seal it in with a nice matte varnish. I use Liquitex matte varnish. And this was my first time really making shoes, so I didn't really actually know what I was doing. But I think I actually did pretty well with Chloe's shoes. The only problem was the heels, which you can see I am using hot glue for, and I'm actually heating up an old X-Acto blade knife with a lighter and cutting them. For her hair, I used yarn wefts by using Mosekito's tutorial on yarn wefts, and then also used her tutorial for ombre dyeing the hair as well. And I just glued it on her head with some Fabri-Tac glue. And that is the doll all finished. Again, I'm sorry I didn't get too much footage. The SD card was running a little low, and arts and crafts projects, they tend to take a little while. And this is also my first tutorial video, and I even actually made her own custom box. As I said, this is actually a gift for my friend, and I just sort of recycled packaging from a doll I had recently bought new. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my first little video on this channel. Okay, see y'all later. Bye.